Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the outset, I do just want to second what Senator Kaine said regarding the concerns over the Nvidia H200 chip transfers to China that the administration announced yesterday. These are highly advanced chips, and anybody concerned about China being able to take our technology and strengthen their military capabilities should be worried about this. In the Appropriations Committee yesterday, Senator Moran and I had a hearing with the Ambassador Greer, the trade ambassador, who said very clearly, and I agreed with him, that we should not compromise national security as part of any trade deal. This decision the administration made compromises U.S. National security, in my view, and it comes on the heels of the president waiving what was known as the affiliates rule, right? The Trump administration at the beginning of this year announced affiliates rule to close a loophole to make sure that if we transfer, we have an entities list that says let's not transfer technology to certain companies like Huawei. The affiliates rule was designed to make sure that you can't create a subsidiary, right? Huawei couldn't create a subsidiary and get around the rule. When President Trump met with President Xi in South Korea, he postponed that. They've also put off the diffusion rule, which is designed to prevent our AI and advanced chips technology that we provide to certain countries from then getting into the hands of China. So I think all of us should be very worried about the pattern we are seeing here. Thank you both for your testimony. Secretary Gott-Muller, thank you for your longtime service. Back in the 1980s, I was actually a staff member on this committee, and we worked on the INF Treaty at the time. And one of the other big issues then was the SDI initiative, Star Wars. It was Reagan's plan to create like a golden dome, as President Trump likes to call it now, that would make sure that the United States was impenetrable when it came to nuclear weapons. And after over $400 billion expended, taxpayer money, it's clear that Star Wars, SDI couldn't meet those promises. And in fact, I think it's been well demonstrated that it's easier and cheaper for an offense to overwhelm a defense, and it creates instability. Now, part of the conversation here is about renewing the New START agreement and maybe entering into an arms control agreement with China. What is your view, Secretary Gott-Muller, of the impact of moving forward and spending a lot of money on a Golden Dome system in terms of capability, but also whether it would trigger another arms race and how it would factor into Russia and China's decisions to negotiate limits on offensive capabilities, nuclear capabilities?
Thank you, Senator Von Hollen. It's a great pleasure to see you. I will make 2 points here. First of all, we do have a general missile proliferation problem, and we can see it in the war in Ukraine. And integrated air and missile defense is going to be critical not only for us, but for our allies. And I urge our allies in Europe and in Asia to be thinking hard about what they need to do to cope with this general proliferation of missiles in the short to intermediate ranges. Now, as to systems in the strategic ranges, we do acknowledge, and we have long acknowledged, that there is an interrelationship between strategic offense and defense, and that we have to think carefully about what is required to ensure the continuation of a reliable offensive deterrent force. And that is also a key question. So as far as Golden Dome is concerned, I will say that I am a bit concerned that we are focusing and I believe going to be investing a great deal of money in basically space-based interceptors at a time when, as we've been discussing at this morning's hearing, the Russians have produced a range of exotic systems that are not at all ballistic systems. They are exotic cruise missiles, some of them nuclear propelled or torpedoes. And the space-based interceptor layer is to go after ballistic missiles. So I'm wondering if we're missing here, once again, a major threat to the United States in terms of air-breathing systems, classic cruise missiles, and then these new Russian exotic systems that we will have to defend against. So it's a question, once again, as to how we are going to spend our scarce resources. I do believe we need to be looking at integrated air and missile defense to defend some critical targets in the United States, and as well for our allies. They need to be focused on that. But whether a major kind of investment of the type that has been put forward will serve our interests going forward, I don't know. The Russians have a lead on us in terms of these exotic systems that are not ballistic in nature.
Thank you.